Hi, everyone, and welcome back to part 3 of our Riley Blake Tannenbaum Scrappy Christmas Tree Applique Quilt project, however you want to call it. Hello,
that was a mouthful. That was a long.
I mean,
that was
you did
long.
very well.
That was awesome.
That felt like I was kind of all over the place, but I feel like that's a pretty good, accurate description of where I'm at in the state of this project. How's everybody doing? How did you do with your homework? Where we left off was getting all 25 of your Christmas trees appliqued if you wanted to go that route, or get them prepped. You can either sew these all together and make the quilt top so we can quilt it today, or you were going to make individual blocks so you can do the quilt as you go method, which Corey is going to teach today. Or you could be stopping at this point just to watch today and do it after, and that is totally fine. But hi, everybody. Hi, Corey. Hi, Melody.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
How are you guys feeling about this project?
I really like the project, actually.
Well, I have to say,
it's cute.
The project is amazing. Yeah, I have to say that I was feeling really good about where I was in my process and feeling really good about the project until I chatted with YouTube for the last 10 minutes. And now I feel like I could have done so much more with it. Guys, wait till you see what Corey's doing. Wait till you see what Bethany did. It's
Corey outshined us all. Let's just say
I am going to be watching and learning today most often, I believe, because my gosh, just wait, guys, just wait. Amazing.
Well, I mean, we are here to level up and challenge everyone. So we do like to be a little extra. I will say Corey wins the extra challenge today, which you guys will see in a minute. Catherine says she has all of her trees pressed on, but didn't get more than that done. Catherine, that's okay.
That's great.
That's
right.
where I'm making it twice, and that's where this one is at in this phase anyways. So it's totally fine, because I was going to save these to do it Corey's way with the quilt as you go method. And then I made one with all the applique. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to quilt this with all the applique elements that I put on it, because I can't quilt it like normal. So we have lots of options to show you today.
And I'm wishing I did the same thing as Catherine did. I'm wishing I did the same thing so I could make mine look like the one I just saw Corey show. So wait till you guys see it.
Well, you have the pattern, so you could make it again with different fabrics. That is always an option.
I could. Do that.
I could, but I'm not going to.
I'm not sure I see myself doing that, but I could.
Susan says she's in the same place. Just need to fuse the trees onto the blocks and do the applique stitches. So that's great. We're all in different phases of this project, and that's the fun part of these virtual sew-alongs is you can go as fast or as slow, but it's all recorded, so you can always watch the replay. The last 2 parts are on our YouTube channel, so you can go watch those. I do have a bit of an announcement, though. We were going to do 4-part series, and we were going to come back on Friday to wrap up. Unfortunately, I am not going to be able to be here on Friday. I have a family matter I have to go to, unfortunately. So we are going to wrap it up today. We have a lot to cover today, but Corey and I have talked about it, and we feel like we could absolutely get it done today. So what I'm going to tell you is we're going to cover a lot today. Watch, take notes, work as you listen and watch or whatever. Ask all the questions in the chat. Make the most of our time today. But if you get stuck or have questions or need help, please put it in the CutterPillar Creations Hub Facebook group. Let me put that on our screen. If you're not a member of this Facebook group, please go join. People have been posting their progress over there. People are still posting videos and pictures of their October sew-along with the table runner. Go join that group. I'll answer your questions as soon as I can. If there's a question that Corey is better at answering, I'll let him know and he can give me the answer and I'll pass it along. But we are going to wrap up our sew-along today. So I'm sorry for that. But I had a death in the family and I have to go to a funeral. So life happens and we have to pivot. But you will still get all the knowledge and we will still get it all taken care of and make sure that you successfully finish this project. But I really feel like we could finish it today. Like we don't have that much more to do.
I think so too. And Bethany, we've also, just to remind everybody, also all of the videos are on the YouTube channel. They live there. We can always refer back. I am planning on taking a lot of notes and watching mostly today because of what I've seen you guys do. And so I have used our own Sewalong videos to go back and remember how to do something myself. So it's so great. They're always there on the YouTube channel. So you can always go watch them from there.
Great point. Susan says she's thinking about making matching pillows. I actually have a couple extras that I'm probably going to do the same with. When you see my backing fabric that I chose for one of them, I have extra, and I'm going to use that for the back side of my pillow. But I'm really excited to make some pillows to match too. So yeah, super cute. Thank you guys. I appreciate your understanding about having to cancel on Friday, but Corey and I chatted the other day, and I was like, I think we can do this. We really don't have that much more to do. But before we dive into that, Melody, do you want to touch base on our Black Friday deals? Because they're still happening.
Yes. I just want to remind everybody our Black Friday sale is still ongoing, which we're very excited about. It's a site-wide sale. It isn't just us choosing products that we think you might want or need. You can choose whatever you want on the site-wide sale. The coupon code we've got going on right now is BF15 Black Friday 15. So it's 15% off of any CutterPillar products. We also don't usually put other manufacturers' products that we sell on our site in our sale, but all of our Sew and Spill handmade decorative bows are included in that. So you can use your coupon code on that as well. But we also, listen, guys, make sure that you are signed up for our emails, because we have other special fun things that are going to be coming up on actual Black Friday. We started our Black Friday sale early, and we were like, that's great, and we're glad we did, but it's not fun if we don't do other crazy random things. So we're doing other crazy random things. So stay tuned to your emails, watch our socials. We'll post what those special things that are going to come along over Black Friday weekend. Also, we'll be, I'm losing my words today. You guys have a week ever that you're just like, one more thing, and my head's going to pop right off because there's too many things in it. That's me right now. But anyway, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I have a lot of Christmas trees decorated, so everything's fine. We're fine.
That's more than me. Still haven't done any of that.
I know. Anyway, so make sure you guys check that out. If you've been waiting for like you've been watching the sew-alongs, you've been seeing all the products that we're using. You've got your bundle that you got from the Handmade Collective event or from any other thing. And there's that one more thing that you wanted. It's a great time because anything and everything is on sale for that 15% off coupon. So if you have the deal, you have a light board and you have a glass mat, but you didn't get the tote bag yet, now is a great time for that. Or vice versa. If you have the light board and tote, but don't have the glass mat yet, now is a great time to do that. If you're looking at traveling for anytime during the holiday season, the flip and fold mats are great to grab at that discount. So, but also keep an eye out. There will be a couple of special surprises coming Black Friday.
Check your emails.
Which, guys, is next week is Thanksgiving. Next week.
Crazy.
Wild. And we're going to have a whole Christmas tree quilt done before Thanksgiving, which I'm really proud of us. Yes. Sandra asked a quick question. Is it the same code for the 25% off discount? No, that was a VIP. So if you registered in the first 2 weeks of November for our VIP Better Than Black Friday deals, you would have gotten a 25% off discount code. That ended this past Sunday, and our regular Black Friday deal started on Monday, which is 15% off. So if you registered for VIP, you would have gotten that code in your email. And yes, you can still use that code. It is still active, and we would have emailed you.
We didn't shut it off.
We didn't turn it off. But our if you didn't sign up for VIP, our regular Black Friday deals is just 15% off on our website. But we have marked products down. There's other deals on there. So just go check it out. And like Melody said, we're going to have special emails with like limited time, like 1 day flash sale on something that's like crazy marked down, or weekend flash sales, or freebies with any purchase. Like we've got a lot of things that we're doing. So please don't sleep on it. Go check out our website and make sure you're getting those emails and reading them. I know you're getting a lot right now. Everybody's blasting all the emails with all the sales, but be sure you read the CutterPillar ones. Yes, Sandra, if you registered, go back to your email, get that code. You can use that 25% off code. So good on you to register. It's so important to do those when we talk about it.
Real quick, Bethany, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I have this linked. I'm streaming the same stream to the Linda's YouTube and Facebook as well. So guys, these codes that they are talking about, this is a CutterPillar thing. If you're watching us on the Linda's channel, those codes are not going to work on the Linda's.com website. So this is CutterPillar stuff. Just putting that out there.
Yes.
Thank you for saying that.
Thank you
Corey,
for that. Yes.
You are also still offering your discount to everyone watching. That it's what, Sewalong 10. I'll put it on the screen 10. In a second, but I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and this is to your website, and it's a list of all the supplies that we put together specifically for this project. But they have all sorts of goodies on their website, like everything you could possibly need to do any project whatsoever. So please go check it. I'm going to drop the link.
Quilt as you go stuff in there. I said, I wonder if I put the quilt as you go stuff in there.
I'm go grab check. My laptop. Yeah,
he's going to go check. I'll tell you guys, just as a side note, I just want to say I have taken to ordering from Linda's like a lot lately, and all the stuff comes so lovely, and it's such a great process. I've always been very happy. It's really great. So if you are looking for supplies that CutterPillar doesn't carry, Linda's is a great option for that. I just got another package of more batting because I'm on their list, their newsletter list now. And I just got some more fusible batting, which I'm so excited about. I can't tell you how much I love that fusible batting. Like growing up quilting with my mom, there was never such a thing. And now that I'm coming back into quilting, it's kind of like when you have a grandchild and all of the baby gear is so much better than you had for your own kids. And you're so mad about that. It's kind of like that for me.
Yeah.
With the tools that we have now for sewing and quilting and stuff, especially the fusible batting. Especially the fusible batting you can get from Linda's, because I love it so much. I'm maybe addicted to it at this point.
It's the best.
But yes, it's the best thing. It's so great. So anyway, go get your batting and supplies from Linda's.
Yes, and I did put the link in the chat. I'll drop it a few times, but I did put the link in the chat, and then I just put the code on the screen so you guys can use that. Now, Corey, this ends when? This code.
I knew you were going to ask me that.
I know you told me, but I forgot too.
Well, never.
Yeah, it's been that kind of week.
Yes, it has.
It has.
For all of us.
Is the moon in a weird place this week for all of us?
It's in the microwave or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Corey and I were talking about that yesterday.
This code ends at the end of November.
Okay, November 30th.
Oh, so you have all of next week. That's great.
Yeah. We've got all next week.
Great.
Sweet. All right, guys. Y'all ready to get started with this sew along? Well, let me know in the comments if you're ready. I know I'm ready. As I mentioned, we have a few people that have joined late. As I mentioned, this is going to be our final round of this sew along. We've decided not to do the Friday sew along because I have family engagement that I have to go to now. But Corey and I made a great plan. We're going to be here until we get it all done. And if you have any questions, as I mentioned before, you can hop on over to our CutterPillar Creations Hub Facebook group and drop your questions, your photos, your videos, any help that you need right there. And I will help you as soon as I can. But yeah, let's get started. I'm going to move my keyboard.
Do it.
Okay. Where we left off is you should have had, where we left off on Friday, 25. Ooh, Melody?
Oops.
Hey now.
Wrong one. Sorry.
Hold on. Quit clicking. I'll do it. There we go. Let me do it. She's
I'm so helpful. Okay.
Do you want to still be on it or be on it? Be on it for a minute. Okay. So you should have had your 25 blocks pressed, and we walked through applique stitching. So I'm going to show you mine in just a second. And then once you got them all appliqued, then you had two choices. You could sew them all in their rows so that there's 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So you have all 25 sewn together in a 5 block by 5 block top. And we were going to talk about the borders today. Or you could have taken each one of your squares and made mini quilt sandwiches with batting and backing like Corey's showing. And he's going to show you how to do the quilt as you go method with each block. I'm going to show you how to finish the quilt top without the quilt as you go method and how you can finish it a different way, depending on your personal preference. And for me, I think it just kind of depends on how much applique you choose to do. Like those have 0 applique stitching. It's just pressed on, and then you can do all over quilting, like the quilt as you go method, like Corey's going to show us. Anyways, quit clicking. Who's clicking?
I think they were talking about Melody and you.
Oh, okay. I was like, Do you hear a noise? Am I clicking?
Yeah, no.
Is there a chicken in my house or anything's possible right now. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the different methods. Okay. So I'm going to actually share my overhead camera. I have my stuff here and I'm going to do my best because I've already made my quilt sandwich for my whole quilt top. And I'm going to walk you through this, but I wanted to show you some of my quilt blocks because I did some pretty hefty applique on some of them. And hefty, I mean, like I added embellishments. Look at my little pom-poms.
Oh, so cute.
How cute is that? Cute. And then obviously you guys saw me do part of this one with the bold satin stitch around it. Like it just really frames in this lighter print with the lighter background. You can never go wrong. Sorry, my camera's going to jiggle a little bit as I bump it with this giant quilt. You can never go wrong with some rickrack. Love a rickrack moment. Okay, super fun. This is gold thread. I found a different gold thread that was more stable in my stash, and I did different decorative stitches. Oops, I clicked on a button. Let's see here. I'm clicking on my keyboard as I'm moving this thing around. There's all sorts of goodies on here. I did pom-poms going in a straightaway, like straight across with the music pages. I did some red decorative stitches. So have fun with it. Don't be afraid to try new things. It did take me some time because I was switching my thread colors pretty often, but I tried to batch it so that I did all the gold decorative stitches at the same time and picked out those blocks first. Okay, so have fun with it. But when you add stuff like this, you don't really want to like take away from it with quilting. So for me, I'm going to do a stitch in the ditch around each block because these pieces are all stitched down. I don't know if you can tell, but like I stitched all the way around this. I stitched all the way around the trees and I added decorative stitches. So they're not going anywhere.
Bethany, did you stitch your tree trunks?
I didn't because I caught them right here and right here.
Okay, good.
So I didn't do this. I didn't do the sides. They're really tiny. I'm not super worried about it. Yeah. And to be honest, this is not going to be a cuddly quilt. This is going to be a hang on the wall for decoration quilt. Because I'm also going to add buttons. So this isn't a cuddly quilt. But I'm going to do that after I quilt it. But if I did ever start to get any lift, I could just go back in and stitch those down if I really needed to. But for sake of time, I did not. So let's talk about these borders. Because if you pieced all of your 25 squares together, it's time to add the border. And this is the border fabric. It is so directional. So you are going to need to plan this accordingly when you cut your strips. I cut mine. They are 5.5 inches wide. So once you're done sewing them on and adding your binding, they'll be about 5 inches wide. And so you're going to need to make sure that when you cut these, that you're cutting them this way so that they're going with the font. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that it's legible. I mean, I guess you could go this way, but then it would look really weird on your thing. Now I'm going to show this because it's going to be easier to see than versus my whole quilt. I can't fit it all into the camera, but if you in your kit you have this printout. It shows this here with your 25 square Christmas tree squares, and then on the other side it's got adding your borders. And you'll see that they have it so that the font is something that you can read here. It's going the same direction here, okay? But then on the sides, the font is facing in, like I did here. I did it the same way they had it here because it just looks really nice. But you could have this so that it's facing out. It's whatever you do on one side, though, do it the same on the other side. It'll look a lot more cohesive and planned, okay? And that way, none of it ends up being upside down or backwards. So just plan accordingly. You're going to cut your strips, and then you're going to sew the sides on first. So when you cut all of these strips, you're going to need 6 of them. You're going to have to sew them together to get enough border. Your quilt is bigger around than the width of the fabric. So you're going to end up with some seams. There's one right here. You can't even really see it. And you want to know why? Because
Did you match up the words?
I did not. I got lucky.
It looks like you did. It looks like you did.
There's my seam right there.
Wow.
You just made up new words.
I made up new words. And if you want to read these words, it's treason. That's treason. 'Tis the season for treason and whatever these other words are. But what I did here, you know how typically when we're joining seams with quilting, we're doing it at a diagonal? I did not do that. I did it straight on. So I just lined up my edges, edge to edge, lined my edges up and sewed straight across instead of doing a diagonal. And then I just pressed my seam open. And because I cut them all at the same time, going the same direction, the rows of words lined up. So if your words themselves are not going to line up, but the rows, try to get the rows to line up as best you can. And I found that easiest when I just sewed straight across versus doing a diagonal seam. But that was just me. So once you sew all of your strips together, then you're going to sew the sides on first. So the left and the right on first. Sew those on, trim the top and bottom. I left a couple of inches on the top and bottom, so I wasn't like cutting them perfect length. So in case they like didn't reach all the way, I always cut my borders a little longer and then I trim it down. And then you're going to sew the top and the bottom. Okay. That's what I did. And then once you're done getting your borders on, you're going to give it a really good press and you're going to make a quilt sandwich. And I'm going to hold this up. You're not going to be able to see all of it in the camera because it's big. Oh my gosh. I haven't even held this up yet. I literally just made the sandwich. I just made the sandwich. I'm going to move this out of the way. Let me see if I can stand up with this real quick. So you can kind of see what the borders look like, right? And I've got plenty of batting and backing all the way around. Can we have a moment for my backing fabric with the Christmas bows? And I have extra of this to make those pillows like Sandra was talking about. She was going to make extra pillows. I'm like, I'm using this fabric. This was a regular cotton fabric that I got at the store and I pieced the back together. So it was wide enough, but yeah, so this is what you're going to end up with. Now, what I'm going to do, because this has a lot of applique elements and I'm going to be adding buttons after I'm done quilting, is I'm going to do what's called stitch in the ditch. So I'm going to show you my stitch in the ditch foot in a second, and I'm going to show you the threads I've chosen. But Corey, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stitch in the ditch around each block. I'm not going around the trees, just around each square. What should I do in my border because it's so wide? Should I change to a white thread and do some stitching across that so you see some stitching around the border? Or do I just do like stitch in the ditch here and then like do like a little edge stitch and not stitch in the border? I don't know what the answer is. I've never done a lot of stitch in the ditch. I usually show my quilting, but for this one, I wanted to do something different with all my applique.
Yeah, I think for this one, what I would do personally is I'd switch to a white thread and I would do piano keys around the border.
What's that?
Just so vertical straight lines.
Oh,
yeah, just up and down. Yeah, but you're just going to space them, you know, however you want to space them. And then at the corner, then it kind of shoots out like a radiating section. And then it continues. I'll show you. Hold on. Let me grab an expo marker. Hold, please. I'll show you. But that's what I would do. I think that's what's going to look, and it's not going to take away from the quilt. I would, however, I know you said you don't plan on using it as a cuddly quilt. I would, however, just for batting migration purposes, I would still stitch around the trees for your quilting, because that's 10 inches of space that batting's just going to sit in, and eventually gravity is going to take effect. And it's going to kind of pull the batting down, and then you're going to get clumps of it. So I would at least stitch around the trees. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy with it. I know that totally throws off your plan, but I'm just saying.
Bethany's pouting.
This project just went from quick to
She's
not
pouting.
It's just hard to move this whole thing around the trees.
I know.
It's hard to move that whole thing around the trees. Yeah.
I could quilt it for you. You can always send it to me, Bethany.
We should live closer together.
Heard.
We should live closer together. Okay, let me show you real quick before you do that. I want to show them so this is the clear thread I'm going to be using. on mine because it's what I have on hand. So this is going to be my top thread for my stitch in the ditch, but my backing is black. I'm just going to use a black thread, not this one. This is a rayon, but I'm going to use a cotton black thread in my bobbin. Because I'm fine with that. And then that bobbin will add a little stability to my clear. But with my tension and everything, my machine has auto tension. So this black will not come up to the top. So I'm not worried about that. And I just realized how much glue I have on my fingernails because I just finished using my 505 Otif spray for basting my quilt sandwich. And if I sound winded, it's because I did it on my living room floor about 10 minutes before we started this live. And I'm like sweating in my sweatshirt. It's such a workout to do that.
It is a workout.
It is.
Okay. Show me your technique here. Let's see it because I need inspiration.
So like if I'm just trying to give myself some type of, okay. Can you see that? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Okay. So like say this is that's our border. Oh, it's rough. Well, we've seen those quilts before, haven't we?
It might be mine.
I've made those quilts.
So,
yes.
Like this could kind of be my starting position. And to kind of make it like sing and kind of show it, I would just do piano keys, which is just your kind of straight up and down like this at whatever spacing you want. And then whenever you get to the edges, you start to figure out what angle you need to go out. And you would just kind of shoot them out like radiating lines. Back in, and maybe one more. And then it starts your piano key again. And you would just do that all the way around.
I like that.
It looks
Are you doing
nice.
This free motion or with just regular straight stitch walking foot?
Just regular straight stitch. Yeah, I wouldn't trust myself to use free motion on this.
All right.
Well, that's what I would do.
Yvette wants to know if you can do straight lines across the entire quilt. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. And honestly,
that's what I'm doing.
I'm showing Stitch in the Ditch because it's something we haven't shown in one of our sew-alongs. In our last 2 sew-alongs, I went into more detail about how to mark your lines, and you can do crosshatch, you can do straight up and down. Like there's so many different quilting methods. Or styles, I should say. And so you can choose what you want to do. And you can always go back and watch those for some of those demonstrations. But I'm going to do Stitch in the Ditch, which reminds me I need to find my Stitch in the Ditch foot for my machine. But it's basically a foot that has a guide in the middle.
So real talk, because I don't do a ton on my sewing machine until I got really into Quilt As You Go. Had no idea that there was such thing as a Stitch in the Ditch foot, and I'd been doing binding a whole other way, and that makes it so much easier.
I'm actually going to flip it. So this is the one that comes with my FOF. Look at how nasty my fingernails are. Oh my gosh, there are fuzzies, batting fuzzies stuck to them. It's just glue. So this is the Stitch in the Ditch foot. See if I can straighten that out. And this little metal piece right here is actually a guide, and you put this in the ditch, meaning in the seam allowance. So, oh my gosh, this quilt. So as I'm sewing and I want to stitch in between these seams because I don't want it to show, this little metal guide is going to follow along, and that guide kind of separates the seam. So, and your needle's right behind it, and it's going to hide the stitches right in between there. So you don't really see them. As Corey was saying, he said, I have to stitch around my trees. Dang you, Corey. But I can do that. I can just go along the tree, and I'm using a clear thread. So it's going to get hidden. It's not going to take away from my applique or anything else. And I can do it right around here. And again, I can use that Stitch in the Ditch to follow right along where I'm going. So it's a foot that's got a guide. Is it needed to do Stitch in the Ditch? No, but it makes it so much easier. And you're going to be so much happier with the result having a foot that makes the process easier and gives you that better result. So if you have a Stitch in the Ditch foot with your machine, great. If you don't, you might want to invest in one because there's a lot of times where you want to hide one. Hide it. Hide your stitches.
Bethany, I didn't know I had one. I have one, I think.
Yay. That's awesome.
Yay!
I went to when I went to the Houston show this year. I went to the Juki booth and asked. I said, I need to buy a foot, and they were like, it came with your machine, right? And I said, it did what? And then never even opened up the little thing that came with the machine.
Oh my gosh! Well, yeah. So my machine has like a whole shelf of feet.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole nother compartment of feet, and I have even more feet that won't even fit in here. I have all the feet. I'm telling you, they make these feet to make those different types of sewing easier and more effective and more accurate and all those things. So invest in them. They're great. So I put my stitch in the ditch foot in my machine, and I'm going to work on in the background stitching my quilt a little bit. I thought I might get all my stitch of the ditch done while you were sharing the quilt as you go, but now I'm not going to. Thanks, Corey.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry. It's fine. I don't want the batting to migrate on you.
Valid point. I don't do stitch in the ditch very often, so you're very valid point. But if you Corey's gonna share how to do the quilt as you go method. I wanted to give him plenty of time to go through that because we have never shown that on one of our sew-alongs before. And then we'll come back, and we've talked about binding in our last 2 sew-alongs, and binding is pretty straightforward, but I have some binding examples of adding some fun pom-poms or rickrack to your binding to elevate your binding. And I'm going to just show that briefly at the end, and then we're going to wrap up. So Corey, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay.
And let you have the floor.
Okay.
I'm going to back out. Yep. Perfect.
Okay. Thanks.
Hey guys, so like Bethany said, I'm going to show you how to do the quilt as you go method for this project that we were working on. Bethany already had you last week, if you wanted to do quilt as you go, talk about sandwiching your blocks. So I just want to talk to you briefly about that process. So I have my top piece on, the one that has the applique tree, and then I've got my backing fabric that I've chosen, and then on the inside of this quilt sandwich, there we go. The inside of this quilt sandwich is the best batting, honestly, for quilt as you go. It's going to be the Hobbs 80/20, but it's a double-sided fusible. So what that means is whenever I take these 2 squares, my top piece and my bottom piece, and then I put my batting in between it, I can press and hold with a hot, dry iron in that section for about 7 to 10 seconds. And then I can pick up my iron and then go to the next section and press and hold for about 7 to 10 seconds. What that's going to do is the batting is going to temporarily adhere to the top fabric and the back fabric, creating your quilt sandwich. Okay. Now, there are other fusible battings on the market. The reason I choose the Hobbs heirloom double-sided fusible is because when it's fused down, there's no stretch at all, even on the bias in this section. Okay. And when you're working on your sewing machine and doing any type of quilting, either whether it be quilt as you go, or if you want to do the whole quilt top, which I highly recommend. I saw Bethany's 505. I have nothing against 505, but you can use this batting in your whole quilt sandwich as well. Pressing and holding, adhering that. And then like if you had to roll this up to fit underneath your throat of your machine, and then you just flop it back out, it's going to keep its shape. It's not going to change. And I can rip this quilt around wherever I want to, and it's always going to have that nice shape.
Can I just say real quick, the only reason I used 505 is because I saved my fusible batting for the quilt as you go method, and I didn't have enough to do both. So because I didn't have it, I had to, like, you're right. Like doing it for the smaller blocks, so much easier.
Yeah. You know, Bethany, so you can get more of that from lyndas.com. You can get more of that fusible batting from lyndas.com. I got 2 rolls.
If I had planned ahead.
Plan ahead. Bethany, do we plan ahead? Come on now.
We don't do that. We don't live that way. None of us live that way.
I saved it for the smaller blocks. So I was like, well, I already have other batting. I'll use that for the bigger one, and I'll use the smaller for the quilt as you go method. Because I'm learning this with all of you. Like, I have not seen this method the way he's doing it this time. I've seen it in our summer event that we had that you taught it at, but you showed it with like adding sashing between. So we're doing a little different. So I'm a student today too. I'm so excited. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. No worries.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I like this batting. Now, if you remember me saying when you're pressing and holding with that iron, it has to be a dry iron. And I put emphasis on dry. If you are using the batting, make sure you write down hot, dry iron and circle dry 1,000 times. This fusing medium on this batting is water soluble. Okay. So once you have the quilt completed, the binding done, even with the fun tips that Bethany is going to show us on binding after this, that batting, when it hits water and it goes in the washer, the fusing medium disappears and then it lofts up, the batting lofts up to the traditional 80-20. Because right now you can see it's like extremely thin, and that's by design. Okay, because when you press down, you want that to be nice and thin underneath your machine while you're stitching. You don't want any excess bulk. But once you stitch everything, you bind everything, you wash the quilt, it loses all of that fusing medium and then it lofts back up. Another question that I get on the batting is if I fuse it today, like, is it going to stay that way for the next week, or if I need to go on vacation, or if I need to go out of town? Once you fuse it, until it hits water, it's going to stay locked on. Okay. If you get like a wrinkle or a pucker in your backing, especially if you're using a larger section, all you have to do is just pull this away, and then you just flatten it back down, and then grab your iron and press and hold in the same section. You get about 7 to 8 presses until the batting's like, all right, you tried, buddy. Okay, we're just gonna let that one stomp right there. So that's the batting. That is if you take away anything from today, the batting is the key. Okay, it is the biggest thing about quilting on our domestic machines. And not a lot of people talk about it, which keeps me in a job, so that's great. But I love the Hobbs Heirloom 80-20 fusible edition. Okay, there's a non-fusible and a fusible. It comes in a crib size and a queen size package, along with a 96-inch wide by 30-yard roll of it. So if you really, really like using it a lot, getting a roll is much more cost effective. And that discount code Sewalong10 works on those products. So Bethany, if you want to drop that link in the chat anytime you get a moment, Sewalong10 on our website, lindas.com, you can use that to get it on the batting's on sale right now, and you can even use that code on top of it. So there's that, which is even better. Okay, so I'm going to go overhead real quick, and I'm going to show you. I have got this fused down to its section. I went ahead. I personally like to see the applique stitches on the back side of the quilt. I know I'm crazy, but I just like the way it looks. I think it adds cool texture. So this is where I started, this one piece. Nothing's appliqued, it's just fused on the square. And then I went around, my preferred clear thread is Monopoly by Superior. Absolutely love this one so much. Okay, so that is what I used to stitch around with applique stitches, using just a kind of like a blanket stitch. And I don't know if you can see it on camera. Yeah, you can. So you can see the stitches on the back. I used an 80 weight thread on the back. I used Deco Bob. You could use any type of one, but the 80 weight really lays into the fabric really nicely. And that just kind of gets exactly where I need it to be with those stitches on the back. So I stitched right through it to lock that together, so I did not have to do stitch in the ditch like Bethany is going to have to do. In this. So this is that section. So I went all the way around and did this. Let's see. I think we have a question. If I'm machine embroidering, how do I do that with the quilt as you go method? Oh, great question. Okay. So I would machine embroider your piece first, and then do the quilt as you go. Or if you want to do the machine embroider like a label, I would pick up one section of this and you just pull the batting back and do your machine embroidering for your label or whatever on the back, and then you can fuse it back down into that section. So I had my sandwich just like this, and I began to draw out my Thanks, Mom. I appreciate that. She's at home watching me. Thank you, Mommy. So then I began to draw out my designs for my quilting, and I want to show you a really fun way to do the quilting on your machine. But first, I want you just to see this is where we're headed today. So this is what I did on my sewing machine. No free motion at all was done with this. I quilt with my feed dogs up. I use a method of quilting called controlled quilting. It was invented by Pauline Rogers. And I am her brand ambassador for the Quiz system here in the United States. And this is all done on our sewing machine, no free motion at all. And I'm going to show you how we do it.
Can we just take a minute and say, like when Melody and I were saying how he leveled up and on all of us, this is what we saw before we went live. And we were all just like, well, why am I here? Why am I teaching anything today? Look at this. So I don't know about you guys, but I've got my drink. I grabbed some snacks. I'm just going to sit here and watch Corey for a minute because this is amazing, Corey. This is stunning.
Thanks,
did you use a silver thread?
I did. I used silver on the whole thing.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, we're just going to watch this. We're going to watch this genius in action.
All right. I just had to say that. We just had to applaud you for a second. I mean, everybody let us know in the comments how stunning this is. And you're going to show us exactly how to do this.
Exactly how to do this. Yep.
This is why I saved my other 25 squares to learn this. So my second one can look better than my first one.
Oh, they're both going to look fantastic. Okay, so let's look at drawing out our designs first, and then we'll go to our machine, and I'm going to show you the setting that you can change on your machine. Majority machines have the setting that you can change. If you don't have the setting, it might be worth investing in a new machine to get that so you can do all of this stuff. Again, no free motion. Feed dogs are up, and I'm just moving the fabric in the direction that I want with that controlled quilting. So this is the tree that we're going to work on today. And I want to first start by drawing out the little swooshes here. Now, you can do that just by eyeballing it if you want. I personally, since I have the set with me, the dot-to-dot system, which is something that I teach with the Quiz system. And if you didn't see it on the Handmade Collective Summer event, you can go back to the CutterPillar channel and find that. But this is one of the templates. Let me see it better. This is one of the templates that comes in that dot-to-dot set for creating fun melons on our quilts. But I'm going to use that big curve to give me that swoosh effect. I've got my Bohin fabric marking pencil. This is a wash away pencil as well, which is really nice to work in with this. And I love using wash away things because of that batting. I'm going to have to end up washing this quilt anyway. So this lead is just going to kind of disappear. No chemicals in this either, so it's not going to harm the fabric, which I really like. And it doesn't heat set either, which is a big thing. So I'm just going to use that curve on this dot-to-dot template and just draw on my first little swoosh. And it's harder to see on camera, but I'm just kind of drawing on my first little swoosh. And then I'm just going to go down to the next one. And I'm kind of going point to point here in these sections and just drawing them on. I'm going to kind of make it a little thicker so you can see. You only have to draw this on as heavy as you need to be able to see it. That's better. You can see that better. So that's that swoosh. Now, this last one goes from here to here, and that's a pretty far distance. Like even with this curve, it's not going to get it. So this last one, I want you to kind of free form it. Freehand it, and I kind of go one side and another and just kind of get that angle. That's good. That'll work. And go in with that. Now, if you have a really large curve ruler or a circle piece or something that you want to use, you can do that as well. And then I'm going to travel back up that section and stay on one other side of it. So what I mean by that is right over this edge here. Stay a little close and up to it. I'm basically just creating that gap in between it to go all the way up. So now that I've got that bottom one, I can go back using my template if I want to, completely up to you, or you can just freeform it as well and add those on. So you're going to do that down this first section here, and then we're going to flip that and go this other direction as well. And that's what's going to give it kind of that cascading effect down the top of the tree. So we'll just switch from side to side. using whatever we'd like to, or if you just want to go for it, you can go for it as well. This would be a fun point too. If you want to do that decorative stitching and like me, you don't care if it's shown on the back, you could use decorative stitches instead of having to do these kind of curvy swoops. But I like the way this kind of gave it like a ribbon effect almost. But completely up to you. Again, I'm just kind of free-forming this. You do not have to follow directly on this pencil line. Please don't, because that sometimes can make people nervous. This is gonna erase out or wash out anyway. So like if you don't stitch directly on it, it's not the end of the world. Okay. So that is the back and forth. I know it's a little harder to see on camera because that's better, a little better. But it's just that back and forth around this. Now in the background section, I used a bowhin pencil as well, but I've been using white. There's also a gray lead swap out. I have 2 pencils, so I've got one with gray lead in them. But there's also a gray lead that you can use on lighter color fabrics. So on the background, I kind of did this. It gave me snowflake vibes in the back. So I started with one of them up here in the top left corner, and I used one of the templates from the Quilt As You Go system. Set I is this one, and it comes with 2 different templates, but this is the one that I used. Trying to see if you can see it. There you go. You can see the little stars in them that I was able to draw inside of. So I took the first big star and kind of set it up here at the top left section. Got my gray lead, and this pencil is made to fit directly inside of that template. So I'm just marking these stars, and I'm just right inside those little notches, and it's going to mark that star piece right on top of it. So what I recommend doing is putting all your stars in first, however many you want, and then we'll fill it in with the little loop-de-doos. So I've got one here. There's multiple sizes of stars. So like maybe I want to go to a smaller one as we cascade down. Maybe right there. And you can just mark these in. Now you do not have to mark every single notch either. If you only want to do a few of them, don't mark the ones. Just mark the only ones that you want to do. And these again are just a guide for you to follow. Down here, maybe I want to put a small, I just want to do loops. Let's do a small one down here though. If you don't like what you've done, you have an eraser on the end of your pencil. Just erase it off and change it out. But I'm just going in and marking around as I go. Now again, this is the Set I template from the quiz section. There are so many different sets of templates that you can use in this method, but I like this one. Just spoke to me for the whimsical side of it. So I'm just going to keep working around this. I'm going to start moving a little bit faster for time. Again, only mark as heavy as you need to be able to see it. With like the gray lead on a really light colored fabric. I'm going to skip one there. It takes a little bit of more, kind of water and washing to get it out. So just make it pretty light. I'm doing it pretty dark on here so y'all can see everything, but it can be fairly light. Just as dark as you need to be able to see it. Let's do 2 more. Let's go, let's flip it. Let's go that direction. Some of them have a little bit of a different curvature to them when you flip it back and forth. So if you want the stars or the little firework things to look like they are moving around or cascading down or kind of snowflaking down, then you can just flip the template whatever direction you'd like it to go. We'll do one more. Right there? Right there. I like that one. So I'm going to fill this in. Okay. Another thing while I'm doing this that I want y'all to know and to think about is because I fused down everything to this batting before I actually started doing any of my applique stitches. I know Bethany showed y'all last week about having a interfacing behind it, because when you do a lot of applique stitching work on it, it can kind of cause things to crinkle up or everything. This batting acts as a natural stabilizer. So there's nothing in between this besides the top layer of fabric that has this applique, the batting, and the backing. And it's still laying beautifully flat with all of that stitching, all of the the blanket stitching around the sides as well. So you don't have to add in that stabilizer. It's acting as a natural stabilizer for us, which is fantastic. Another reason why the Hobbs Fusible is the best. Okay, so we put in our little stars. So now I'm going to create my loops to go from section to section. So this is where I'm going to start. Oops, sorry. This is where I'm going to start in that section. So if I travel and do this whole star, I'm going to come out of this section, for instance, right there with my stitching. So I'll come out of that with some loops. And come in to my next piece and go out of my next one. And you do not have to make these loops really tight. You can make them fairly large if you want to. So just going in around this, I will tell you towards the bottom of this for us to add these rows together. I stitched, so I came out here, I stitched, and I got right here to the edge and just did a little stitch in the ditch action right here on the bottom. I know I told you didn't have to do it, but on the bottom we're going to have to, just because of how tight this is next to the edge of the fabric. But you're just going to do a little stitch in the ditch action there, and then you come out from this side again with maybe a loop, fill in that loop-de-loop, loop, come into another star, and just continue to loop it. I love a little loop action because you've done the hard work by placing in the main kind of attraction of the design. The loops is where you just get to have fun and just kind of go with it. And they don't have to be super tight or together in that. You're just giving it something to do. Same thing at the top of the tree. Don't get super close to the edge because we're going to have to pull that through and just get right there to the edge of the tree, not the edge of the fabric. How much extra batting do you have around the block edges? So I teach the Quilt As You Go class that I travel and teach. I use 12.5-inch squares of batting in the class. So that's just what I had on hand. So that's what I used. You technically, these are 10-inch blocks. You probably only need a 1/2 inch extra all the way around. I just use 12.5-inch blocks. So that's what I have on hand. But you probably only need 1 inch to a 1/2 inch extra on all sides. So you can do an 11-inch block of your batting, and then you can fuse that down all together. So I'm coming in with a couple other loops and then ending where I started. So that'll be my fill-in around this section, okay? So now I want to head over to the machine to look at how we're going to stitch it. So Bethany, if you will turn on my, my machine camera, please. Thank you. Okay, so on my machine, I have a setting, and majority of you do too. It might not be as visible as mine is. So right here, mine says pressure foot pressure, and it's a digital dial. However, some machines have like a knob on the top left of their machine. Maybe on the side of the machine, there's a dial. On another one of my Jukis, there's like a little spring thing. But I would check your manual and see if you can find pressure foot pressure or pressure foot tension. Okay, don't get that confused with thread tension. But pressure foot pressure or pressure foot tension, because that's what's going to drive the quilting process that we're going to do. So I'm going to rotate my camera. Okay. And I've got my Sew Slip mat on my machine. If you don't have one of these are amazing. There's a little sticky section that sticks down onto your surface. And this is like kind of like a Teflon thing. And this takes all of the surface tension off of your machine. So I use this primarily for piecing and for quilting because everything just glides. It's fantastic. Side note. Okay. So I want to show you what it looks like with standard pressure foot pressure. So my standard for my machine right now is 3.6. That's just my standard. Every machine is different. I'm on the Bernina 570s a lot, and their standard pressure is 70. So they're all different. You have to play with it if you have the setting. But I highly recommend playing with it for a few different reasons that I'm going to talk about here shortly. But I have it on the standard setting right now. So I just want to pull up my thread real quick. And where'd my tweezers go? I have lost said tweezers. Well, I have a little basket right next to me, guys, of all my stuff. And the tweezers are not in the basket. Oh. Oh well. Can make word about it. I'll use my little hook and snip and just grab a little extra so it pops out easier. Oh, here they are. On top of the machine. Of course, that's where they shouldn't be, but that's fine. So I'm going to pull up my thread real quick just so I don't have a little nest on the back. And I'm doing the Cool Gray 3 from Glide on top because I wanted a little bit of a shimmer, but nothing too crazy because I still might actually want to end up cuddling up with this quilt. I didn't think I was going to. I think it was going to be more of a showpiece, but I really like it.
Corey, quick question. What presser foot setting do we need to change it to? I found my setting on my machine. Mine's like deep in the settings, but mine's set at 6.5. Did you say we needed to lower it or raise it? What are we changing it to? So I know we have to play with it, but
yeah, we're going to end up lowering it. I just haven't got to that exact thing.
Oh, okay. I thought you had said it, and I was like, did I miss
No, you're good. You're good. No
okay, sorry.
You're good.
Sorry to jump ahead.
You're fine. No worries.
I'm so anxious. I have to show you real quick. I'm going to pop up real quick.
Yeah.
I just found the box with all of my quiz system. I just put on my Glide thing on my, so I have a clear like sewing extension table for quilting, and I put it on that. I got my templates out. I got my clear, hold on, I just dropped it. I got my clear mono poly thread. That was in my kit. I've got my Bowen pencils. I've got everything I need to do exactly what you're doing. I'm so excited. Sorry. I've had this system since the summer when I bought it from you, and to finally be applying it is quite exciting. It's very rare that I get to learn something new. So I'm so pumped. Like I am going to have so much fun this weekend doing all of these blocks. So carry on. I just wanted you to know that you should be proud of me that I pulled the box out because it was still all in the box.
Very proud of you.
And I am playing with all of this now. So anyways, that is all. Carry on. I hope everybody else is as excited as I am. I know Melody is because she's got all the stuff too.
My camera's being crazy, so I'm trying to fix it. Okay, that'll work. No, it's a really exciting thing. I love this system, and I'm a long armor by trade. And then to do quilting on my sewing machine because I'm on the go all the time is so much fun. But I just don't like free motion. It's not my thing. So this is no free motion. So feed dogs are up. I have an applique foot on, so this is an open toe foot here, so I can see at my quilting. I know it's a little harder to tell on screen. I will pick up the camera from time to time, so y'all just stay busy on that. But I want to show you what it looks like with standard foot pressure because the machine is doing what the machine is supposed to do. So if I started stitching with the standard foot pressure, I'll let it do its back and forth stitches because that's on. If I did my standard foot pressure and I start to turn, you see how that's bulking up like that? The machine is doing what it's meant to do, okay? We buy these machines to, more or less, lock the two layers of fabric together and stitch a straight line, okay? That's what the foot pressure is doing. But with all of that foot pressure down, I can't easily swing this fabric to create these fun curves. So I am going over to my settings, and my foot pressure is right here on a knob. I'm at 3.6. Every machine is different, so keep that in mind. So you have to play with your machine. But I like to take mine down to I think it's 1.4 is what I like for my foot pressure for this. But like, again, I'm on the Bernina 570 QEs a lot. They go from 70 to 11 for their foot pressure. So they're all a little different. But now that I have lowered that foot pressure, I've got just my hands. I'm not slouching over this and really pushing this around. You're just directing the fabric, and you'll notice I'm just really using angel fingers, and you're just literally letting the fabric spin at the direction that you need it to do your stitching. And you're going to go to that point, pause, and then rotate to the next section. I've got that Cool Gray 3 on top, and I'm just stitching right through this. And I'm literally, as you can see on camera, just directing the fabric in what area I want it to go. I am not doing free motion. I'm letting the machine do its thing, and I'm just directing it. Those feed dogs are up and they're pulling the fabric. So I've got my stitch length set all the way to that point, and then I'm going to turn and go backwards. So I'm going to do the other side of, well, we're going to do, remember I told you sometimes you might have to go rogue and not follow your drawn lines? Well, this is the time, because I got on the wrong side of it. And that's okay, because the erase line comes out. But I'm just directing this, and you're going to love it with that batting. That's another big thing. You can see everything staying nice and flat, nice and square, nothing stretching out of shape. And I'm coming up here back to the top where we started. And then I'll pivot around and travel back down the other side.
Corey, we had a question. What is your stitch length?
Right now, my stitch length is set to 2.2 for this one. So
you go small.
2.2 is a decent size. What do you piece with normally?
I piece with 2.5.
Oh, 2.5. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I go to 2.2 for this.
And then I usually, when I'm quilting, I go up higher.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I'm doing 2.2 on this one.
You like a tighter stitch?
I love a tighter stitch, yeah.
Okay, that's personal preference. So great question, Catherine. And then I have a question. On the sew slip mat that you have down.
Yeah.
So I just pulled mine out, and it's a very small little circle. Where the foot is, but I have like a bigger area, so my feed dogs wouldn't catch. But I saw in the instructions that you can cut it.
Yes, you can. I need to.
So I can cut that opening bigger.
Yeah, I'll get you the right one sent to your house, so you've got two of them. Melody, you might want to check yours too.
I can send back when I ordered the quiz system, I didn't know it came with all these extras, so I ordered 2 of everything. So I have 2 of everything.
Okay.
Because I was so excited, and I was trying to run that live, and I just pressed add to cart everything, and then I bought everything twice, which is fine. But sorry, I did what I did. But
what thing do I have to check?
What thing do I have to check in my stuff? Those first few that I sent out to you, it's probably just you guys. There were 2 different bundles, and so y'all probably got the other one. Check your sew slip mat, and you want the sew slip 2 because it has the rectangular cutout.
But you can cut it. Is what the instructions said.
Yeah, you can cut
it.
So
the one that I've opened, I'll just cut, and the one that I haven't opened, we can just swap seas on another day. But I just was like, oh, I guess I need to cut this if I want my feed dogs to still feed my fabric.
Correct. Yeah.
With this method. So that was my question: do I need to do that?
Let me show you. So you want to have that rectangular cutout around yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's a tiny circle.
Yeah. So you'll want that rectangular cutout on yours. Okay. So
but
you can easily cut that.
You're welcome. Okay, cool.
Easily cut it. Okay. So that's let's go back overhead. This phone camera isn't as wonderful as I want it to be. But thank you. So this is that first piece right there. And we just stitched that on our sewing machine. Okay. All about the foot pressure. That's the back. It comes together so well. Now that foot pressure is not only just for controlled quilting. Okay, guys. I do a ton of foundation paper piecing. And if you ever realize, or I do minky bindings or minky backings with binding. And if you ever notice when you're stitching and everything gets kind of culped up or, bunkered up at the foot, it's because the foot is doing what it's meant to do, which is put a ton of pressure down to hold those layers together. Take back your foot pressure a little bit and everything's just going to glide right through the machine, which is amazing. And it's going to save you a lot of headache and words that you don't want to say publicly, probably. Okay. So that was that. So let's take a look at doing the background, because now we're getting into more tighter sections here. So that was our starting position. So we're going to head back over to the machine. And when we get over to our machine, Bethany, can you swap the cameras, please? You're going to pull up your thread for your bottom thread and your top thread. So the bottom thread is pulled up. That's our top thread. Again, I'm still using that same deco bob on the bottom. I did that for the blanket stitch. I used the clear on top, the deco bob on the bottom, and then this the deco bob for stitching too. Or any type of thinner thread will work. Bottom line is really great. If you've got micro quilter, that's even thinner, so that would work well. So we're going to do our stitching on the background. So I'm just going to kind of follow these gray sections here. Same stitch length. And once I get into the center of this, then I can kind of turn it and go one direction. And then you'll just notice it's a quick spin. Because you've got that sew slip on, and it's got the proper hole cut out, you can just take whatever you need and then just spin this whatever direction you want. And I'm just doing back and forth stitching over things that I need around this. Okay, and remember, you do not have to stay 100% on that drawn line. It's going to erase out or wash out, however you want to do it. But that's just going to pull that. Now, if you notice that you're not having as much control with the fabric because the foot pressure may be too low for this type of overstitching back and forth, just go up a hair on your foot pressure and see if that gives you a little bit more control. Like I was losing a little bit of control with the overstitching, so I went up to 1.6 on my foot pressure. Now everything's sitting exactly where I want it to. I was down at 1.4, and that might have been a little too low. But you can play back and forth. Now, ours are digital on my machine, but if you've got a knob on yours, just kind of find that area and then maybe mark it with like a Sharpie or something, like this is where I need to stop to get the results that I'm looking for. But this is all you're doing. You're just slipping things back and forth around that section and getting everything stitched using your controlled quilting method with the Quiz system. So we're going to travel this. Now this is where we're going to start getting into our loops. Now, if you go to a tighter stitch length, so like from 2.2 maybe to 2, it's going to make curves a little bit faster because those feed dogs are coming faster. If you want to continue with the same larger stitch length that we're using, the 2.2, whenever you get to a point in your loop that you feel like the curve isn't curving anymore, just pause and rotate a little bit. And then curve it, pause, rotate. Pause and rotate. To keep that same flow, pause and rotate. And now I've finished out my loop. And I'm just working around this curve. Again, angel fingers. Pause and rotate. I'm not forcing this around. I am sitting back cool as a cucumber in this chair, if you guys could see this right now. And I'm just shifting this around. And because I've got that mat on, I've got my feed dogs up, I can do whatever I want to do with my quilting in this. And this is just block by block. Okay. I have had students, after they've taken the Quiz class, they actually go and do the same method on larger quilts. Feed dogs up, they've got their foot on, they've got the sew slip mat on, they did the fusible batting, and they've had great success doing quilting on their home machines, even on their larger quilts, not just quilt as you go, with these fun techniques. And you can take this as much time as you want, or you can really speed through it. You can crank up that speed and have a good time. But I just want to get through this last star and these loops down here to the side so I can show you how we're going to combine these blocks together. Normally I would do all of the quilting on the whole block, but just for time purposes, I do want you to see how we're going to combine these together. So I'm just going to turn and stitch. And you just keep flipping this around in whatever direction you want. Biggest thing also, again, is try to get at least some type of open toe foot so you can see exactly to where you're stitching. You'll be a lot happier with that. Bethany and Melody, are we enjoying ourselves?
Yeah, yes. I think I'm learning something actually too. I'm trying to quilt mine as I'm listening to you. But I keep finding myself stopping quilting mine and watching you instead.
I had to go get my quilting gloves. I don't know. With the bigger quilts, I find it easier to manage. So I had to go grab my quilting gloves to be able to manage this. But I've started what I decided to do is my stitch in the ditch. I'm going to do the squares first to really get everything nice and secure. and then I'll go back around the trees.
No, you won't. What does quilting gloves mean?
They are gloves.
Grippy?
Yeah, so they just they have little grippies on the fingers. And I don't know if Corey ever uses them when he does like bigger quilts, but I know he does a lot of long arming, so he may not. But if you're doing a lot of machine quilting and you're managing like a lot of fabric and a lot of weight, it just kind of helps you hold on to the top of the quilt, and then you can still have your sew slip on the bottom. But to me, I find that I get a little more grip and control when doing a bigger quilt sandwich. And it's also helping me hold on to the fabric because I'm kind of like pulling the fabric so that my foot's going right in that stitch in the ditch, if that makes sense. And I may have muted, my glove doesn't work. Corey, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, I took the other camera off since it's just your arm, but that was your microphone. So if you had said anything, I'm so sorry. We didn't hear you. That was my bad.
You're good. I don't think I added anything. Oh, besides I've got some. But I don't know where they're at this time. But yes, I do like those little. I have the Machingers version, and I like them a lot. They're cute.
And they have like, they're not heavy, and so my hands don't get hot, but they do have like thicker fingers, and they've got a little grippy. And I feel like I have more control over the fabric, especially when I'm working with a lot of fabric.
Yeah, especially with a really heavy one. Yeah.
Yeah. So especially if I'm doing like precision quilting, things like that. I don't know. Because if you take your hand and you rub it across the top of your quilt, it's nice and smooth. But if I do it with this, I have a little more traction. It's like the difference between having summer tires and snow tires. I think that's a good way for me to explain it to Melody because she lives in Utah.
Yep. That's
you don't want to slip and slide.
That actually makes sense to me. That actually makes sense to me. Yes. Yes.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay, I think I'm ready to put blocks together.
Oh, I'm so excited. Do you want to use this your main camera or your sewing machine?
Yes, my overhead camera. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so again, I would stitch the entire block first before you started combining them together, but just for time's sake, I've done half of them. But it's so cute. It's adorable. Okay, so you're going to stitch these blocks. We're going to do, this is called the block by block method, okay? And you're going to stitch them together in a full row first, and then you'll combine your rows together doing the same exact method that I'm about to show you, okay? So first thing that we're going to do is trim up our blocks, okay? So I'm going to take a ruler of my choice. I love a good Quilter Select ruler, so that's the one that I'm going to use. Line everything up to the edges. That batting keeps things pretty darn square, so I'm just trimming right up to the edge. You can use like an actual 10 by 10 ruler if you want to make sure you're squared it up, or a 9.5 by 9.5, whatever you'd like to do. But the batting keeps everything pretty much in place, so I don't have to worry about that. But I'm just going to square up these edges, and it's going to make it a little trickier for me to do the right side stitching, but it's fine, because I haven't stitched it yet, but it's fine. Y'all are worth it. So we're gonna go all the way around this. Okay. One thing about this batting, because remember, you can use it again and again. If you prefer to do like sashings between your blocks, this is a good size for a sashing. So you can just pull the batting off of that backing and then set this to the side for another future project, because you can still press this a couple more times in your sashings. Or you've even got cute little sashing strips if you want to make some fun applique or something like that. So you've got options. I wouldn't throw this away. I'd set this off to the side. Once you have both of those done, I'm going to turn it sideways just so you can see the full motion of it. But we would stitch these trees right side up. We were going to stitch these together, block by block, just like this. Okay. And then we're going to put a piece of sashing, not really sashing. It's going to kind of look like applique tape over this section. And we're going to use the tools to create that as well. Okay. So I first want to stitch these blocks together. So I'm going to put them, the back sides together. Okay, and I am going to stitch down the seam. I'm going to do a little shy of 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to do like a scant 1/4 inch, which is a little less than 1/4. on my machine. You can do 1/4 of an inch, but down here at the bottom, it gets really tight. So a little smaller than 1/4 of an inch is going to help you, and just to keep that balanced all the way around is what kind of where you're going to want to be at on that. So I'm going to go look at my blocks. Hold on, take a look at this. Let's take a look at this block here. So this other block that I did was a little shorter than this second one that I've done with all of you right here. So there's a little bit of excess here. So I'm just going to trim this up so everything meets up properly. So I've got this lined up, trimming here. Probably after it was quilted fully, it would have all lined back up, but it's all good. Okay. Now it's going to match it beautifully. So I've got these pieces together, backings together, trees. Okay. And we're going to do that scant 1/4 inch right down here on the side. Okay. So let's go back over to the machine camera real quick and let's take a look at that. So I'm going to throw on my 1/4 inch foot.
Can you explain what a scant 1/4 inch is to those who don't know compared to a regular 1/4 inch? Because we've never really talked about that on any of our sew-alongs before.
Yeah. Let me grab a tool that makes it easier too, just to show you.
Of course you have a tool.
I've got a tool for everything. You know, I've got tools.
I love a good tool.
Let's see.
How do you think I bought 2 of everything at the Christmas?
Where is he? We have this tool here called a Stitcher's Friend, and it has all the different seam allowances in it, but I don't, mine is, oh, I bet it's over here. And that's how you can determine if it's a scant 1/4 or not. Easier. There are different ways to do it, but.
And a scant means slightly less than.
Yes. Slightly less than 1/4 of an inch. Some patterns will call for a scant 1/4 inch. I can't find the tool. My goodness. Oh, here it is. If I just give myself a few seconds, I'll find it.
Is it on your sewing machine like your tweezers?
No. Actually, Bethany, do you want to hop back to the other camera overhead real quick?
Sure.
It's just got a better quality. So it's called a Stitcher's Friend. It's 10 tools in one. But there's all of the different seam guides right here. And that one is the scant 1/4. So if I turn this sideways, that's 1/4 of an inch right there. A scant 1/4 is just a hair closer to the edge of the fabric. Some patterns call for that just because if it's got like certain points or things, the scant can help you see the full point where a 1/4 might take the point away. So I've gone with a scant 1/4, which is maybe 1 needle position to the right, maybe 2. But with this tool, what I can do is drop my, if we go back over to the camera on the machine real quick, Bethany.
Mm-hmm.
If I put this underneath my foot and I drop my foot down on that hole where the scant 1/4 is, which was back here that we saw, I can roll my needle down and make that needle position that I need. So I can still use my 1/4 inch foot, but shift my needle position to get that scant 1/4. So I have that kind of that guide that works. So I really, really like it. But that scant just is going to help showcase what we need on the bottom parts of the basket. Charlene says, can you tell me what the silicone mat on the sewing machine is again? Of course I can. This is called the Sew Slip mat. The one we are using is the Sew Slip 2 because it has the rectangular cutout for your feed dogs. There's also the Sew Slip 1, which has a tiny little hole for just the needle. But because I love to have this on for piecing and for controlled quilting, the Sew Slip 2 has that cutout for the feed dogs to pip through. And then if it gets like covered in fibers, and it's like mine's disgusting, I need to clean it. You can just take it, get some baby wipes and wipe it down, or hot water and Dawn dish soap and wipe all this stuff down in the sink. Let it dry, and then it's going to have that stickiness back, so it'll stay on your section. This one Pauline gave me. She's had this one for 20 years, so it's been it's a good one. It's kind of like a one and done thing. You don't have to buy multiples of them unless you want.
I just dropped a link to your website again, and don't forget, guys, you can use the code SEWALONG10 for 10% off. Highly recommend that you go grab that link and open it. So when we're done sewing and learning, we can go get the things we need to do our project.
I'd pull up my laptop real quick. Let me make sure the mat's there. No, it's not. I've added the mat to the collection, folks. So if you refresh your screen, that collection link that Bethany just dropped in, you'll now see the mat. But it's called Sew Slip 2. It's really nice. Okay, so I've got these blocks together. I have got my foot on. This is also another big deal with your pressure foot pressure. You could play with that as well here because this is really thick. You're getting multiple layers of material. You could change your pressure foot pressure so it doesn't shift your blocks by any means as well. So I've got that. And then let me adjust my needle to that scant because I didn't do that. Okay, now we're good. So I'm just going to stitch this down. Okay. And got that together. Okay. Just doing that 1/4 inch or scant quarter, a little less than that. Stitch here. Once you get to the end, then we're going to head back to our cutting surface and go overhead again and see what we've got. So I've got this laid out, and then Bethany will get that switch for us in just a moment. I know she's busy doing all of her other stitch in the ditch that she's doing right now, so she'll get that.
No, sorry, my keyboard died.
Oh no!
So I'm like standing up at my laptop, which is up on a shelf, trying to manage.
Let me see if I can figure out how to switch it.
Here, I got it. There we go.
Thank you, Bethany.
Oh, she just moved it. I got it, Melody.
Okay.
There we go.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so this is that scant quarter. I'm actually going to end up making this a little bit shorter. Could I have done an 1/8 of an inch stitch? Yes, I could have. But some of these sections would be a little tight, and so I'm going to actually end up trimming this down. So I'm trimming this down to an 1/8 of an inch. So it's a very small seam between these, but I like having that quarter. It's easier for me to piece the blocks and then trim down from there personally, but you can do whatever works better for you. So an 1/8 of an inch from that stitch line. I'm going to trim that down. So then that's what I've got in between my two blocks. So if I open this up, this is what this is looking like so far. Okay, and I'm going to turn it sideways so you can see the full scope. But this is what that's looking like so far. So what I need,
yeah. Can you show me the back too? So it just looks like a stitch seam from the back, basically.
It looks like a stitch seam. You could play it off as stitch in the ditch too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it looks like. So
we're just gonna hide the seam on the front.
Correct.
And that's it.
Correct.
Oh.
That is right.
This is so fun.
I love this. This is cool.
But if you didn't want, let me ask you this: if you didn't want the seam on the front to hide the seam, you wanted it to be more seamless on the front and hide the seam on the back, you could.
100%. Yeah, you could flip it to the back and then do this exact same thing. The only thing it's going to show you on the front is the front stitching, more or less, or the front stitching on the back, whatever. But either way, you can do this exact same method either way that you want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to grab my glass mat from CutterPillar. You want to make sure you are taking advantage of their Black Friday discounts that are happening right now. I'm sure they'll talk about that later. But this is the glass tempered mat. I'm putting that underneath this, underneath my wool mat that I'll use later. But I like my glass mat first to get this seam as open as I can and as flat as I can. So I'm going to grab my iron and press this as open as I can. Now remember, you're working with an 1/8 of an inch, so it's not a whole lot you can do. But you're just going to press this nice and flat. And what that's going to do is take majority of the bulk out of your piece that you are going to hide it with. So I'm just taking this, and you can kind of see I'm just bouncing my iron back and forth. And that's kind of opening up that tiny little baby seam up. But that glass mat allows me to look at that. Holy smokes. You can't do this on a regular ironing board. You can apply a ton of pressure down and keep that nice and flat, that tempered glass, and then press down that iron. And don't be afraid with your pencil. I'm marking, ironing over what I've marked here. It doesn't heat set. So you can iron all day long. It's not going to heat set your pencil and destroy your fabric. So don't be afraid on that. But I've got that nice and open. So it's a nice flat seam. I'll flip it over to the back as well and press that flat. But now it just looks like I've got that same stitch in the ditch across the backing on this area. So this is those two joined together, okay? So now that those are joined that way, we need to cover all of this stuff. So what I did was, because I did that 1/8 of an inch cut back, I am going to hide that with a 1/4 inch piece from my sasher tool. So these little tools, you guys got these too, Bethany and Melody. These little tools are your sasher tools. And these create all the different sashings for Quilt As You Go. But I want to do a 1/4 inch one, and that's going to hide this open section here. So whatever size is on your tool, you cut double that width in the fabric, okay? So if I'm doing a 1/4 inch hiding, I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch strip. Now, I decided not to do the little circles that were on that were in our kit from Riley Blake, but they did send us with a bunch of white fabric for those circles. So I have cut 1/2 inch strips of that fabric, and I've cut quite a few of them using my stripology to create these pieces, but 1/2 inch strips through my 1/4 inch tool, okay? So I'll take, with my glass mat still down, because that's going to protect my cutting surface on my Ultra, I'm going to grab my wool mat. Hello. I'm going to grab one of these pieces, one of these 1/2 inch sections. And what I'm going to do on this is fold this into about the center as best I can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but into about the center as best as I can. And I'm going to grab my iron and hit that with a nice hot iron. And I'm just kind of folding these a little closer together just to get it started, but you have to have somewhere for it to go. So a nice little press on this, folded up to us and meeting in the middle as best as it can, okay? But that's that fold in right there. To feed through your sasher tool better, it's better to cut this first initial one at an angle for it to go through that sasher tool. So I'm just going to take my scissors, slice that at about a 45. And then I'm going to take my sasher tool, and these smaller ones, so the 1/4 inch, the 1/8 inch, the 1/2 inch, we're going to have this open fold facing down towards our ironing surface. For the larger ones, you can have the fold facing up towards you, but facing down takes all the play out of the fold. So I have that facing down, and I'm going to feed it through one side of my tool, just like this, and then poke it through the other one, just like that, okay? I'm going to lay that on my ironing surface. I'm going to take a clover fork pin. It's a double-sided pin. And that's going to pin right into that little section of fabric on both sides of that fold to keep it held steady. And I'm going to push that pin all the way into my ironing surface. I'm going to grab my iron, butt it up right here against the side. We want this nice and straight. We don't want to pivot it in. We don't want to push it with the tip of the iron. We want it nice and straight. And then I'm just going to push alongside, and that's going to create my fold for me, okay? Now, this has this little bit of flip that it didn't fold properly, and it's because I was hovering over this pin because my pin wasn't pushed all the way down. So I can just go backwards with that, travel right back down that section, and then put my iron back on the surface, okay? And it's going to have that nice fold in, okay? So we're just traveling down this section. And I'm just going to press this along as we're going. Okay. Giving a little bit more, I think I might need to turn up the heat. Yeah, I do. So, okay, this is still folding out. Heat wasn't all the way up on my iron, and I am sitting at a weird angle. So if you have that, that's an easy fix. We just shift it down a little bit. Little extra fabric, that was about, a couple of inches, but worth it just to try out to see the heat factor on this. But I'm going to stand up over this and add in what I need. There it is. So now if I look, I've got that proper folding happening. I wasn't having enough pressure on this. And because it's that little smaller one, if it's not sitting properly and not the right amount of pressure, it's not going to flip back for us. So I'm just going to travel. That's much nicer. Okay. See the difference between that one and that one? I was just kind of gliding this around on that first one and then pushing down. I meant to do that so you guys could see. See, look at that. Teaching moment. So we're just going to add that nice good amount of pressure, a lot of heat on this one, and just kind of kicking this down. And we need about 10 inches, maybe a little bit more for our first layover because this is a 10-inch block. That should give us what we need. But let me measure it just to be sure. Perfect. Okay. So I'm just going to trim this off. You would make quite a few of these, but I'm just going to trim this off. And then I will flip this around on the back side and give it another good press as well. But that's the fold that it's going to create for us, that hiding strip. So I'm going to take that and just give it a real nice press. Okay, you can use steam if you would like to. I just use a dry iron just because I don't put water in my iron because I use so much of the batting, just so I don't tempt myself. Okay, but a good press on that, and that's going to be our hiding strip. And this is going to end up kind of framing these blocks and giving it kind of like a, I don't know, how would you say it, Bethany? Kind of like a, I say frame, but like a, what were we talking about? Like a photo. It's going to frame. We're just going to go with frame. I like that.
It's a frame. Yeah, it's like a window pane.
A window pane. That's what I was going for. Thank you. But when I set this over that section and I hide that real nice, that's what it's going to end up looking like, guys. Okay. So it's going to hide that really nicely. So I'm going to come in with one of my last tools to show you today. And I know Bethany and Melody have got some. My favorite glue, the Roxanne glue base bit. It's the best stuff. Okay.
I have not used my glue yet.
Oh, you got to use the glue.
I know.
I'm going to come in right here to where we did that flip over and just drop that glue on. Okay. And I put my glass mat away too soon. But an easy fix. Can pick it right back up and grab it. Okay. I'm going to lay this with that raw open edge same way down. And that glue is going to keep this in place until it hits water. Okay. But by then it will be stitched, so it's not a problem. It is a water-soluble product as well. So I'm just going to grab this and kind of maneuver. And I'm sorry, I know my head's over this, guys. I just have to see it because it's a really small piece. Kind of maneuver this in whatever direction that I need to hide that opening. Okay, and that glue is going to lock that down. Okay. Better than pins. Just going to lock it right in place, right where we need it. Okay. And that's going to be our hiding strip there. Okay. So that nice, beautiful window pane look. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and stitch right on the edge. Let me give you this one. Right here on the edge, but right on the inside of that. Okay. Not on the inside of the actual block, right on the inside, the middle of the strip here. And that's going to give it that finished, one, it's going to lock down the edges, but two, it's going to give it that window pane look. It's going to frame it nicely. So let's do that real fast. So let's head back over to the machine. I'm going to switch my foot away from the 1/4 inch foot, go back to my open toe foot. And I'm just going to stitch right down the edge of this. I'm going to do it both sides. So I'll stitch down one side and down the other as well. You can do it with the top thread that you're using, or if you want to use the clear monopoly, you can do that too. I think this is going to kind of give it just a fun look. It's just going to look a little different. And I'm here for that. If you are just doing regular straight stitching, remember you might want to take your foot pressure back up a little bit, just so it can pull things through nicely. But you're just going to stitch right down the edge of this. This is also another thing, if you're getting into these really, really small sections, the CutterPillar, I'm just doing all of y'all's marketing for you, go me. The CutterPillar Flex Light has a little, if you get the accessory kit, it has a little magnifying glass that clips onto it. So you can turn on the light and really see up to what you're doing, especially on those smaller sections on the edge. So I absolutely love the Flex Light.
I love that. I love that you're using it for that. I love that so much.
It just makes it, I use it for applique too, because it makes it so much easier to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to work down this edge. If you could also go with a little bit of a larger strip too, like we did a quarter. If you want to do a half, you can do a half. It's just going to be a little close on the bottom of some of those baskets. But if you're okay with that, go for it. It's up to you completely. I'm going to get down here to the edge, turn, and then flip and go. Okay, so then we're just going to stitch right down. Again, stay pretty darn close to the edge there if you can.
If you want to be festive, this is an opportunity to even do a decorative stitch down this. I'm just saying, there's always opportunities to add flair. In my
100%. 100%.
So if top stitching a straight line is not your expertise, then do a different stitch. Do a zigzag stitch. Do a decorative stitch. Do one that's got like leaves on it that goes back and forth. Like you can play with it and have fun with it and make it look like it was quilted with intention that way. Exactly. So anyways, just throwing that out there.
Exactly. So if we look back over at the top, I'm going to trim my edges. And then that's it together. And then that's the back. So it just looks like it was stitched in the ditch.
Okay, so now you're going to do this between each block on your rows, and then you're going to sew your rows together and do one long strip between your rows.
Correct.
Okay.
You got it.
Easy peasy.
So block by block all the way. So this is the block by block way. If you want to do sashing, you can go back and look at the Handmade Collective video. I've also got a ton of videos on our YouTube channel walking you through how to do the sashing in between it instead of the block by block. But there's so many different ways to do it, and then it comes together looking so cute.
Okay, another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Once they get all 25 blocks sewn and window paned together with their in between and their rows, how are they adding their border if they still want to add their border?
Good. Yes. So what you're going to do with your border is you're still going to create it into a sandwich, just like we did for our individual blocks.
So really long.
So it's just going to be a really long sandwich. If you want to quilt that with piano keys, or with if you want to do more of these little snowflake stars, or if you just want to do straight line quilting, quilt it however you want. Excuse me. And then you're going to attach the border to block, just like this. So just like we did with the blocks, but border to block. Go all the way down, trim it up, and then add that little strip over the top of it, and then do the same thing on the other sides, and you'll have a full finish quilted quilt.
And by the time you get to that point, you've done your whole binding and everything. Everything's quilted. You're just squaring it up and putting your binding on.
That's correct. Yep.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Melody, do you have any questions before we move on to the next thing?
I'm just in awe.
I can tell you're
kind of like everybody's talking about that. We're all mesmerized by this. I'm just kind of in awe by it. I will say, Corey, you could be proud of me. I did use those little, that little, I don't know what you call it. The little, when you folded your sashing over, those little, they're not templates.
Oh, the sasher tools. Yeah.
The sasher tools. I used those to iron my binding on my last sew along. And I was so much in love with how fast that went.
It's so much faster.
That I will do it that way from now on. Like I was so happy about it. Yeah.
And if you guys are looking, if you're looking online on our website, like there's a full set of the sasher tools. There's like a ton of them. But like Melody was saying, for binding, there's a little mini collection of them that are these two orange ones. So it's 1 1/4 and 1 1/8. Those are really great for binding. Instead of folding them in, you're just going to fold your fabric in half like traditional binding and just flow right through it.
Yeah.
And then you can find, I added the individual sizes to the little collection that Bethany just dropped in. But you can find either the 1/2 inch size, the 1/4 inch size. I think I put the 1/8 inch. I probably wouldn't go that far if you're just starting out for the first time. But there's multiple different sizes, but I love the tools, and they're more than just for quilt as you go, but they're like, that's so cute. And look at that. It looks perfect.
It's so cute.
That's so good.
It's so cute.
I love it.
So cute.
I'm obsessed.
So that's what you would
obsessed.
do for
I'm
all
mad
of
at
your
myself for not doing that. That's so great.
Don't be mad. Don't be mad.
I mean,
Don't
not
be
mad.
mad.
I'll be happy to finish. But
I'm
I love
excited
it.
to get to do it both ways. I did some stitch in the ditch, but I quickly realized that this space is not meant for quilting a large quilt. My quilt kept getting caught on the edges of my table, and I need my big table, which is in my sewing room. So I set it literally dumped it in the floor. I was like, I'm over it. I'm over it right now. I'm fighting this thing, and my stitches are not staying in the ditch because I was fighting too much fabric. Because it was like falling off the back of my table and then getting caught on the edge of this. And I was like, this is not the space for this. So I was like, I literally, you're going to laugh at me. Thank goodness there's a mute button. I was sitting here snacking on my Chex Mix while watching you do this. Like, can Corey come teach all of our sew-alongs? It'd be amazing. My job would be so much easier.
It would be amazing.
So I love being here at them. So thank you for inviting me.
I was like,
always.
I can't keep touching my quilt because I've got Chex Mix fingers. Snacking and quilting don't always go hand in hand. All right. So what I'm going to do now is, Melody, I'm going to move you off the screen for just a second. We're going to talk about binding. And Corey has some tools that can help with binding. So if he wants to grab those and show those, that would be amazing. But I'm going to go overhead real quick and show. Ooh, I zoomed in too far.
Hey, now.
Let me make myself the bigger one for just a minute. All right. Okay. So I've taught binding a few times in our sew-alongs. And so you can always go back and watch like traditional binding techniques. I'm going to tell you right now that your binding for this project is this fabric right here with the little ornaments, super cute. Cut this at 2.5 inch wide strips, the width of fabric. So you're going to go selvage to selvage and cut a bunch of strips. You're going to sew them together at a diagonal, right sides together to make a one long binding piece before you attach it. Straightforward. Some people prefer to sew their binding onto the front and then roll it to the back and stitch in the ditch so you don't see it. Some people like to hand sew their binding on. There are so many methods and personal preferences on how to attach binding. So you can go back and see how I like to machine bind, just regular binding in our previous sew-along from October or even the one from this summer. But today I thought I'd add a little bonus technique to show you a way to elevate your binding. And I thought this quilt project was perfect for this because with the applique, we've added decorative stitching, or we've done quilt as you go, fun stitching. Like we've added some elements that to this project that we don't normally get to do, right? Especially with all this applique. So I want to show you 2 things that you can do to really elevate your quilt binding. And it really doesn't take much more effort. So you're going to cut this 2.5 inch wide strips, just like normal. Make your binding and set it aside. Then I want you to decide to see if you want to try adding a new element. This right here, can you see this? Look at this. Look at these little scalloped edges. Do you know what this is? It's rickrack. I just threw some white rickrack in along the edge of my binding. So when we're adding decorative elements like this, I do recommend putting your binding on the back, bringing it to the front, and before you fold this over and stitch it down, you're going to see where you had originally stitched the binding. You're going to see where that is, and that's where you're going to place your decorative element like the rickrack. Again, we're going to use our glue basted. It's our friend. And you're going to drop some glue and put that rickrack down. Then you're going to fold your binding over and press it down and stitch it. Now I stitched this one. This was a sample I taught in a class recently. So I used a white thread so they could see it on camera, but you could use a matching coordinating thread. So for this black binding, you could just use a black thread. You could use a clear thread, which Corey was talking about. Corey was talking about the superior monopoly thread. I do have some of that because I ordered 2 of everything in the kit. But I showed it in a white stitch. So you could, and I just did a white stitch. You could do a decorative stitch. Or if you still want to hand stitch, you could hand stitch this down. But you need to bring it from back to front so you can see where the rickrack is and make sure it's lined up perfectly all the way down. How fun is this? Corey, have you ever added some sort of decorative element like rickrack to your binding before?
I have. I think it's so much fun. I like rickrack. I like little pom-poms too. I think it's just different.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
So that's the other one I have here. Okay. Look
so good.
at this. So stinking good. Same method. Stitch my binding to the back. Before I bring it to the front, I haven't stitched this one down yet. I lined my pom-pom trim up with where that stitch was. So I knew that it would stick out from where this was going to land. And then I could stitch this down and use whatever. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little tip. What's great about maybe the first time you add a festive element to your binding, you start with the rickrack because it lays really flat. Okay. So it's really easy to stitch along. This little pom-pom trim, I'm going to hold it up so you can it's got some, please focus. It's got some bump to it. Okay. It's not going to lay super flat. And I just ordered this stuff off Amazon. It comes in 1,000 different colors. Get whatever colors you want. Have fun with it. But this stuff doesn't lay super flat. So what I recommend doing, little trick, okay, break out that zipper foot and pretend that this is zipper teeth, the teeth on the zipper tape. And you know how your zipper foot will allow you to get really close to the edge, but will help you go over the bulk of these little pom-poms. So switch to a zipper foot and go down with a zipper foot. Okay. Your zipper foot may look like that. I have my zipper foot on my FOF looks like this. This is the front of the foot and it goes down like this. So I can get really close to the edge. So use your zipper foot to go close to the edge. Because if you used a regular foot, it's going to get caught on these pom-poms and you're not going to stitch a straight line. This is also another time where a decorative stitch could be really fun. So I just wanted to show you how, again, adding a little flair, whether it's rickrack, pom-poms, have fun with it, play with it, experiment. And I highly recommend maybe making a little swatch sample and testing it out and see how you like it before you do it on your finished project. But it is so fun. You're still making binding the regular way. You're still going to stitch it down the regular way. You're just taking one extra step to add a little decorative element. And when I've already added this red pom-pom to the applique of several of my trees, as I showed you earlier. I also added rickrack to several of my trees. So either one of these would be great options for me to add to the border of my quilt. Think of it this way. The edge of my quilt has that very white and black text border, and I'm putting this binding right around it to frame it in really well. Wouldn't a little pop of color between the two really stand out and add some fun texture and bring all those elements that I stitched on the inside to the edges? So it's personal preference, but I just wanted to give you an option to add that extra flair, not just in your block, but in your binding as well, to make it one cohesive story that you're telling with this very fun scrappy quilt. All right. Any questions? That was quick, but I wanted you to have some new ideas of things that you can try. So yeah.
I love it. That was cool. I think another thing to discuss real quick when you were talking about the pom-poms being a little bit heavier, you guys just learned, if your machine has the setting, but you just learned pressure foot pressure. If you've got that extra thick stuff, still use that zipper foot like Bethany talked about, but back off on your pressure a little bit and it's going to help everything just glide right through. You're not going to get caught on those pom-poms. You're going to use that pressure foot pressure for so many things. Yeah,
it's once you realize you have control over that, and that's a mouthful to say, pressure foot pressure,
PFP.
It's a mouthful, and I always try to say it too fast. But don't be afraid, even if you've never sewn a zipper in your life, but don't be afraid to try these other feet. They are going to be able to get you, they have grooves to be able to get you closer to like the edge of a zipper tape, those teeth, so you can stitch close to the edge without getting caught on it. A wider standard universal foot is going to get caught on that, or it's going to scratch it. you don't want your other feet to get caught on your pom-poms and then like bust them out, and then they're not cute little pom-poms. So
they're not fun anymore.
Use feet that are going to work best. And just because it says it's a zipper foot doesn't mean it has to be used to sew a zipper. Just saying. And they all look a little different. So I pulled the one out from my Singer because that's kind of common. But my Thoth one looks very different. So I showed it. I don't know what your zipper foot looks like.
I don't even know what mine looks like.
Mine couldn't look more different. I'm going to hold these in my hand so you guys can see.
I found my zipper foot. Mine looks nothing like yours. Oh, mine looks like the brighter, the chromy one, the other one.
This one?
Yeah.
So this is more common zipper foot, and this is the one I pulled off my Singer machine. This is my Thoth one. And both of these are facing forward. Like this is the front of the foot. What's funny is people always attach this foot backwards, but it's got these openings for the built-in IDT system, which is the walking foot. That's why it looks like a fork. But this is the front of the foot. So it's still doing the same thing as this one. So yeah, that's the difference between those feet. So yours may look a little different, and that's okay, but it's still serving the same purpose of getting close to that elevated edge, but allowing you to still have control over where your stitches are going. Or you can hand stitch it down. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. Susan says she appreciates all the different techniques. Marissa says she's loving all the different techniques. Catherine says, Corey, wonderful teaching. Thank you so much. I will definitely try this method of quilt as you go, which is awesome. I'm excited to try it. If you guys do try anything that we've shared today to finish up this project or apply it to a future project or another project you're working on right now, please let us know and post a picture in the CutterPillar Creations Hub Facebook group. We would love to see it so very much. So please share that over there. Quick reminder, Corey is running a promotion for all of us doing the Sewalong with the code Sewalong10 to save 10% on the Sewalong supplies. I've dropped the link several times in the chat. I can drop it again. But that code ends at the end of November. So you have until like the Saturday or Sunday after Black Friday, and then it's done. So don't forget, go save that link now. Also, CutterPillar is doing their Black Friday sales right now. So use the code BF15, Black Friday 15, for 15% off all CutterPillar products, including our Sew and Spill bows. And that is on top of any sales that we have going on our website right now. So go check out our bundles. Our bundles are always discounted. Go check out like the glass mat. Perfect.
The glass mat. You need the glass mat, folks.
You need the glass mat.
So good.
Look, I have a wool pressing mat, and that's only going to get you so far. But that glass mat is where you're going to get the crispiest seams.
There's something about it. It's just
so
good. And then the ASMR of it, just it's so good.
Right? All right, Melody, do you have anything to share to wrap up? Because we're kind of done. I don't think we have any more questions. I don't think. If you guys have questions, please let us know. Oh, I can't hear you.
Got it. I'm just over here listening and watching and doing my boring quilting on my big giant quilt that I put together. And wishing that I had done more fun stuff, but really excited to do it next time. Because I have all that stuff that when Corey came to the Handmade Collective, I have a box as well. But I've been pulling bits out here and there. So I'm actually using the clear thread that I got in that to quilt the quilt top. This time. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, you know what, guys? 'Tis the season. It's Black Friday time. Everything at CutterPillar is on sale. Corey's got sales on batting still because I just got some from Corey over at Linda's. I got some batting delivered the other day. So check out all of that stuff. Yeah, it came really, really fast and beautiful and lovely. And my husband keeps going, like, what is that now? What is
Just be glad it's not more Christmas decorations, okay?
That's exactly what I said. That is the exact thing that I said to him. I said, listen, it's not another tree, so like don't complain about it. That's exactly what I said. But make sure you guys are signed up for either follow us on social media or sign up for the newsletters at cutterpillar.com because we're going to have some other fun stuff going on during actual Black Friday weekend, and that's how you're going to be notified of those things. So check out that as well. But yeah, like it's pretty excited. And then right after Thanksgiving starts our 12 days of Christmas on the 1st of December too, if we're looking ahead, which is only 2 weeks away, not even 10 days away.
Which is nuts.
So it's not that far away. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Friendly reminder, this is our last session of the Sew Along. It was originally a 4-part series for those who tuned in a little later. We wrapped it up today on purpose since I'm not available to come back and do it on Friday due to a funeral I have to go to, unfortunately. So I appreciate Corey helping us squeeze it in. We squeeze in a lot today, but as Catherine just said, I'm so glad these lessons are recorded so I can go back and watch them again. Yes. Please go back and watch them. Even if you're not doing this so long, there's so many tips that you can apply to just about any project. So go watch and learn, practice, make swatches, and practice your techniques as I throw my zipper feet around. But have fun with it, play with it, learn. It's not going to be perfect the first time or even the second time, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. So take the tips that we've shared, practice. We're not striving for perfection. We're striving for completion. Okay. And when you are fully done with your Christmas quilt, please post a picture in our Facebook group or send us a DM on Instagram if you're not on Facebook. We would love to see a picture of it. We'd love to share it. You can email a picture to support@cutterpillar.com. We would be honored to see your finished quilts. Whether you're keeping it for yourself or gifting it to someone for the holidays, please let us know. We hope that you're enjoying these. This is our last sew along for this year. We still have lots to do for our 12 days of Christmas and wrapping up Black Friday and all these other things we have planned. But we hope if you guys are really loving these, we really hope to do more of these sew alongs in the future. With Corey, hopefully, if he'll hang out with us again. He's committed to 2 in a row.
If you'll invite me back, I'll be here for all of them. I love hanging out with you guys.
I know. We really could do this all the time and have the best time ever. It would be so fun. And then Melody would be like,
we really can.
We really can. To check my emails. I'm quilting all the time now.
I know. Like I had to do the sew along. Sorry, guys. Sorry, bosses. I'm busy. I'm helping with the sew along. Sorry.
Oh, darn. Well, if you guys have any questions, thank you for all the sweet feedback. I'm so glad that you're loving them. Yes, Corey, do more.
Yes.
He's great. Like, I love partnering with other teachers because we all have different things and experiences and techniques that we can bring to the table. And I sat back and just learned from Corey today, which is such a treat for me because I'm always one of the teachers. So to get to learn from someone else is such a treat. And it's how I grow so I can continue to give back to you guys. So I have loved doing this. This has made my week. My dog just got into my Chex Mix. Okay, well, that just
gotta get the good stuff.
She just straight up. No,
the dog knows where the good
stuff is. Her mess. Yeah. She knocked the whole bag over. Another sew along would be great. Learning so much. I'm so glad, Louise. Thank you both. Thank you, Catherine. All of us have had the best time doing this. It's a lot of work, but we were so grateful for you guys wanting to continue to do things like this with us. Was Corey going to do a special binding technique? No, I don't think so. I was just going to show you 2 that I had. And then he focused on the quilt as you go technique today. So he took a big chunk of that today. So I think we're done unless Corey, you have something else you want to share today. You good?
No, I think I'm good. When it comes to the binding on that one,
you do have the binding tools.
The binding tools are great. If you go back and look at our sew along from October, I walked through doing like a flange binding and then doing the different blend. So I would use those videos, but then look out for if hopefully Bethany and Melody invite me back. If not, I'll just log into the stream myself. I'll figure it out. For 2026, we'll be doing a lot more fun stuff together. So
Yeah, and that's why I didn't show the flange binding this time because you did it. We talked about it last time. So we try to change it up so it's not so repetitive every time with some of those techniques. But Catherine says, Melody, thank you too. I love it. Melody's here to learn, and she's learning right along with all of you.
I
commend her for being vulnerable to do this. Yeah,
I appreciate it. No, I'm learning a lot. Like Bethany's little suggestion of making like practice blocks. I do that all the time now, which I'm so grateful for because then I can be like, oh, I didn't like that. I can do this way instead. I'm glad to know ahead of time. I had to put myself on mute because my 89-year-old dad is on the phone in the hallway behind me now. And you guys can probably hear him. He can't hear. And so when he's on the phone, he's very loud. He's my IT guy here at my studio at my house. We take care of him. He's down here in the basement of my house. And so he's You can probably hear him on the phone, which I had to mute you off. But thank you
It's
guys.
okay.
Thank you
Corey,
all for being here. Thank you.
I was going to say, Corey, you should have been here Friday because all of a sudden I heard a microwave in the background and it was our dad microwaving food. I just got so tickled.
I love it.
It's
I
the
love
funniest
it so much.
thing. We are truly live, guys. Like anything can happen.
We are truly live. It is the funniest thing because he has been bugging me since we moved the offices and had moved. I don't know. We've been doing lives for a while, but like earlier this year in the springtime, we moved offices and set up a new studio. And he kept saying, we can set one up at the house. We can set one up at the house. You can do it from home. You can do it from home. And I kept putting him off and putting him off. And finally I was like, okay, fine. So we did it. And I'm in the same room that my mother used to quilt. And there he is. We're live. Do you see him? There's Dad. He's right there. We're live. We're live streaming. You're on camera.
I'm gonna have visitors tonight, so
okay, we'll do.
He's adorable.
That's my life, guys.
So adorable.
That's my in his little suspenders. Yeah, he's my IT guy. So, yeah. So luckily he knows about all the IT stuff because I'm not very good at it. But anyway,
I love it. I love how supportive he is of what you're doing.
He's so great. He's not so great at remembering that we're live. And
he's always welcome. And all of the hi Dad, love the suspenders. Patty, that's hilarious.
I'll let him know. Thank you guys. He's 89, dude. He's still kicking around. So we're hanging in there with him.
He doesn't care.
It's pretty great.
Well, I have to say this has been so much fun. Thank you guys for sticking it out on a bigger project. I'm glad that we were able to wrap it all up today. Please, please, please take your time, finish your projects, ask your questions in our Facebook group, or post a picture and share it and tag us so we can see it. We would love to see your finished projects. You tag Corey, tag Linda's, tag me with Craft of Bethany, tag CutterPillar, tag all of us. We want to see it and commend you and congratulate you on finishing the project. And if you have questions, please let us know. And on that note, we will be back tomorrow with another live, right, Melody? Ooh,
yes,
on my calendar?
Keisha and I are going to be live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. We're going to use some of our products. We're going to show some crafty stuff that we're working on. So it'll be fun. Yeah.
Awesome. And then I think you and I are going to do a little spontaneous live Friday morning. We're still figuring that out. And then we'll be back next week with more lives to wrap up Thanksgiving week and Black Friday. And then we jump into our 12 days of Christmas. So the fun is not slowing down. We're just getting started. So come hang out with us.
We're
be sure
just
you subscribe to our YouTube channel and get that notification bell and you'll be good to go. All right, guys, thank you so much. We just hit the 2-hour mark, so I think it's time to say adios. And I'm going to go feed my dog who just ate my snacks.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.